back to another episode of 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. First, we turn to South America, where in Ecuador, 15 inmates have been killed at the El Litorio jail. From BBC, quote, El Litorio has been the scene of a series of violent gang confrontations, the deadliest of which saw more than 120 inmates killed in September 2021. People living near El Litorio reported hearing shots early on Tuesday. The authorities have not yet released any details about those killed, but said that the investigation into what caused the deadly fight was underway. The prison houses members of some of Ecuador's most violent gangs, who in most cases continue to run their criminal enterprises from behind bars, end quote. This is not the first bout of violence surrounding the jail just this year. In September, the director of the jail was shot dead in her car after having been threatened for weeks. Next, we come to Africa, where in South Africa, the Metal Workers Union is on the path towards a strike after months of strict job cuts and budget tightening. The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa has threatened to stay outside the main office of the company in Johannesburg until their demands are met. From Reuters, quote, the union said its members have been provoked into striking following the conclusion of a job-cutting process. Africa's biggest steel producer, majority owned by Luxembourg-based ArcelorMittal SA, was rocked by a 2-week wage strike in May 2022, which compounded the impact of infrastructure problems and weak steel demand on the company's income, end quote. The strike has already been voted upon, and the company has been notified that they will begin on Thursday, the 14th. Next, we go to the West, where in North America, the battle over the Republican leadership in the Senate has been won by Senator John Thune. The secret ballot was cast early Wednesday morning in a closed-door meeting. From BBC, quote, Thune will take over from Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, who is stepping down from the top Republican leadership spot after 18 years. The South Dakota senator will serve for at least 2 years, with his term kicking off with the 119th Congress beginning in January. As Senate Majority Leader, he will be the chief spokesperson for the Republican conference's positions on issues, as well as controlling the flow of all legislation business through his chamber, as well as the confirmation of Trump-nominated judges and cabinet members. Next, we come to the Philippines, where the previous president, Rodrigo Durante, has urged the ICC, the International Criminal Court, to hasten its investigation into him for possible crimes against humanity. From Reuters, quote, during a congressional hearing on Wednesday into the bloody crackdown on narcotics that killed thousands of Filipinos, the mercurial Durante said he was not scared of the ICC and told it to, quote, hurry up on its investigation into possible crimes against humanity. The office of the current president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., issued a statement hours later indicating that it would be willing to consider handing Durante over if an Interpol request was made. Quote, the government will feel obligated to consider the red notice as a request to be honored, end quote. Durante has faced much contempt for his time as president, not only because of the possible human rights abuses, but also for his strengthening of ties with the Chinese Communist Party. Further south in Australia, multiple airlines have canceled any outgoing flight to Bali after an eruption at Mount Lewottobi spewed hot ash into the air some 9 kilometers high. From BBC, Australia's Bureau of Meteorology has also warned that the volcanic ash might drift to parts of the country's north on Wednesday. Jetstar said all flights to and from Bali until 12 Australian Eastern Daylight Time Thursday, so around 4 GMT, have been canceled. Other airlines have also followed suit, including Hong Kong's Cathay Pacific, India's Indigo, and Malaysian carrier Air Asia. Virgin Australia also canceled its flights to and from Bali on Wednesday, end quote. Though that did not stop all flights from heading to the island, with multiple other airlines reporting some planned flights will remain unchanged. Next, and finally, we come to the continent of Europe, where Spain is bracing for another round of heavy storms in its northeast, just weeks after facing flooding and landslides in the same region. From Reuters, quote, Spanish weather forecast AEMET issued red alerts on Wednesday morning for the eastern Tarragona and southern Malaga provinces, saying it expected them to receive as much as 180 millimeters or 7.1 inches of rain within 12 hours that could cause rivers to overflow and generate flash flooding. People are very worried because 5 years ago, the river rose almost 1 meter above street level. The walls of the school collapsed. Residents' homes were flooded and their basements. It was a disaster, resident Miguel Espinoza told Reuters, end quote. If you want to check out any of today's articles, you want to read more on them, you can find the links in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also down there, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine, so you can listen to it on the go. You can download it. The Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip is down there, where I also post a Twitter tirade on the same day, Tuesday and Thursday, at the same time. That is Twitter exclusive content. And if you want to listen to the entire podcast, that is more about U.S. news, that comes out Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the RSS feed and the YouTube channel. So with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe. Don't die.